Welcome, Kotaku readers, to Ask Kotaku, where I, Tina Amini, am your unlicensed therapist for a couple of minutes every week. Let's get into this week's questions.
I just got married this last Saturday, and while the missus and I have lived together since August of last year, she always finds excuses to not engage in gaming sessions with me. She brought a Wii to the relationship, I brought a PS3, 360, and a decent gaming PC. I've tried to bridge the gap with more social titles, racing, and the like, but getting her involved is one task I haven't yet been able to accomplish. What are your thoughts?
It sounds like your wife might be more of a casual gamer, which is totally fine, but it might not suit your needs. So try to pay attention to what she might like. Maybe it could be a party game, something that you can play while drinking and making a game out of a game. Or you can try even just playing things that you're interested in, and maybe she's sitting on the couch next to you and seems to be a little intrigued. Sometimes pushing can push people away from an idea completely, so you don't want to scare her off too much. But at the end of the day, if she's not going to be interested in gaming, she just might not want to get there, and that's fine too.
I recently started treating my body a little better. Stopped drinking soda, exercising more than I used to, eating smaller portions, and wiser snack choices. I've started losing a little weight. Unfortunately, this was never my goal, and I am already on the thin side. Was the junk food the only thing keeping my weight up? What am I supposed to do now? I'm not interested in chomping chicken breasts and protein shakes, even when I'm not hungry.
If you don't want to do protein shakes and you don't want to get a lot of protein from meat, then I think your best options are to look for things with a lot of calories. Like milk, drinking a lot of milk is a good idea, or eating a lot before bed. So immediately before you want to go to sleep, just eat your dinner at that point.
My wife and I are blessed with a lovely young daughter. She followed in her parents' footsteps and became a little gamer on the side. Unfortunately, there's a point at which she really has played too many hours of games for the day, and we have to turn them off. My problem is not knowing how much is too much. Surely there's an algorithm that they simply left out of the parenting manual. How can I come up with the proper amount of game time without it being a totally arbitrary number?
The rule of thumb here is everything in moderation. I don't know if there's a very specific number that you want to shoot for, but basically you want to make sure that she has an even number of activities throughout her day to make sure that she has the childhood that she should be having. So any number of activities like reading, eating well, sleeping well, hanging out with her parents, that sort of thing.
I'm a late 20-ish divorcee. When I was 19, I jumped into a very serious relationship and let my wife at the time control my life. Now that I've been divorced for a year, I find myself struggling to make friends and meet people. I've tried the online dating scene, perhaps I'm just too ill-spoken. I wish I knew where to start, and I've always wanted to meet an attractive woman who shares my interest in my retro gamer world. Where should I start? How do I connect to a world that I don't understand?
I don't know if the online dating scene is right for you, because you mentioned in your email to me that you like to partake in the internet communities quite a bit. So maybe you want to get familiar with the real world before diving deeper into the online one. As you said, it's a world that's maybe a little bit uncomfortable for you, but the online dating scene is a little impersonal, so you want to go out into the real world. It can be scary, it can be something that you need to get comfortable with, but go to coffee shops, go to libraries, go to art gallery openings, to museums, to concerts, every kind of event, and just be social, and eventually you'll get the hang of it and meet people that you like. And try not to necessarily find somebody who loves retro games or even games. Be open to it, and then you'll see that you yourself will become more open to other people and maybe eventually find that perfect woman that you're looking for.
So my buddy and I are going to that Zelda Symphony next week, and the idea is pretty exciting. That being said, the question came up about what to wear. Should we be fancy gentlemen? Should I just nerd out and wear my Zelda shirt? Should I go semi-fancy, as my buddy put it?
Fancy gentleman, like no question fancy gentleman. If you want to go half fancy like your friend suggested, that'd be fine. But definitely don't go in a Zelda shirt. Please do not go in a Zelda shirt. Just do fancy gentleman.
Tina, how far are you willing to explore the unknown? Will you enter an abandoned building? Will you explore the eerie cave that you happen to find on a hike? Will you simply scale a do not enter fence with a grin? I understand that each person has different levels of curiosity and discipline, but where is the point of no return? If that implies to human interaction, will you venture into a relationship that is deemed socially dangerous? Will you be willing to step outside what is defined as normal by the public and to experience the thrill of the unpredictable circumstances?
This is definitely one of the weirder questions that I've gotten. Personally, I'm the youngest and only girl with two older brothers, so that whole protective thing that I was raised under probably prevents me from wandering into strange buildings with who knows what going on in there. I've definitely heard some bad stories, so I suggest you don't do that necessarily. I do understand the concept of wanting to be adventurous, and that's totally fine, but I think that's within, or it should be within the bounds of what's safe and won't get you arrested, because you can definitely get arrested wandering around some abandoned buildings. As for the question about relationships, I don't normally consider things of the outsider's perspective, so what's socially deemed correct or adventurous. I just do what makes me feel happy.
I used to work at an ad agency throughout college and grad school. I was making really good money. I set up my own company on the side, which had clients, and I had great friends and a girlfriend. Since 2010, I lost my job because of cutbacks. I ran out of clients for my own company, my friends abandoned me because I couldn't afford to go out as much anymore, and my girlfriend proved to be awesome so long as things were going great for me. I've been sending out resumes left and right to companies here in New York, to job openings in New Zealand. Any advice other than keep at it and something good will happen eventually, which is what I hear from my parents?
After 3 years, it doesn't sound like these things are going to change on their own. You have to make the change yourself. So make a list, some other job opportunities that you might want to do for long-term possibilities. Consider your skills, consider your options, what's viable, and consider what would make you happy. As for your friends and your girlfriend, it doesn't sound like you were the problem. It sounds like they might have been the problem, because that's pretty awful. So you might want to just go out and find friendlier, more accepting people.
I'm moving out of my roommate's house onto my own for the first time, and I don't know how long. The last time I lived by myself wasn't exactly by choice. Girlfriend took my daughter and ran off with another guy. I'm kind of stoked at the idea of having a place to myself again. Then comes my girlfriend, who is living with her alcoholic mother. Her mom is in a bad way, and you can see the toll it takes on my girlfriend. She's already hinting and moving in with me. Our relationship has certainly been rocky, and I can't say I feel the same about her as I used to. But I do still love her, and I don't have plans of leaving her. Though it would definitely be nice to have an extra pair of hands around the house, extra income, extra spending time with somebody I care about. I just don't feel like it would be right. Am I right in thinking this, or am I being selfish?
I'm gonna venture a guess here and say that it sounds like your romantic interest in your girlfriend is diminishing, but your love on a friendship basis is still very much there. And that's great that you care for her, because it sounds like she needs somebody there who does care for her. My suggestion to you is to seriously think about your relationship and where you see this going in the future, and then be honest with her, because it's not selfish at all. She needs to hear these things as well. And then you can have discussions leading after that.
With the new commenting system, do commenters ever get banned? If so, are any warnings given? I never troll, but sometimes I lose my temper with troll-like creatures. I realize you answered a similar question last week, but this part never came up. Also, I am bad at starting pun threads. Do writers mind this or hate it?
We do very rarely ban people, but it's nothing that we would warn you for, because you would just be able to tell, and you know yourself, if you're the one getting banned, that you've stepped over the line. It's in very extreme circumstances, somebody who's not just a troll, but somebody who's saying something like really sexually explicit or really hateful, something that we just cannot tolerate on the site, no warnings needed kind of a style. But it's very rare, so I mean maybe like 1 or 2 people in the history of Kinja have been banned on Kotaku, so it's not something that we do regularly. As for your second question, we love it when you guys have fun. So if you guys are having fun, we're having fun. And we throw puns in our headlines and in our posts all the time. So go crazy. If they're clever, I'm into it.
Is E3 a good place to network for potential employment? Or is employment networking inappropriate for the setting, as developers primarily seem to be focused on the press and potential distributors? Also, are there any good after parties that a relative outsider to the game industry can attend? Smiley face.
Is E3 a good networking opportunity, he says? It very much is. It might be second to GDC, but anywhere where there's just a ton of people in the industry that you can speak to on a comfortable basis, it's definitely a good opportunity. It's all about connections in this industry and many others. So if you're in this situation and at the after parties, as you mentioned, it's a great opportunity to just get friendly with people. Try not to shove your resume down people's throats, especially resumes. If you're gonna shove anything down people's throats besides drinks and food, it should be your portfolio. You wanna show people the kinds of things that you can make, not a bullet-pointed reference list. As for the after parties, there are actually a couple of resources to your advantage. There's an E3 party Twitter that you can follow that'll tell you what's going on and how to get into them. And there's also a website that tracks a bunch of the different parties. Some of them are hits and some of them are misses, but you can gauge based on where you want to go. And that's it for this week's Ask Kotaku, guys. I hope you liked it. I tried a different format. This is the first video Ask Kotaku column that I've done. I know that the other ones were really long, and I hope that this is more digestible and more fun way of getting advice from me. So, you know, I'm not really much of an on-camera person. I'm getting used to it. So definitely give me some suggestions. or any criticisms that you have. Don't be awful. And definitely send me questions for next week at tina@kotaku.com. I want to give you guys advice.